Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 26 of the Dragoncast. My name is Brian Daniels, and I'm back, as always, once again, with my podcasting partner in crime, Victor Salazar. What is up, man? How you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Brian? What's going on, guys? Just hanging out here over in Southern California, trying to stay up to date as to, what's going on in the world, staying safe.
Yeah.
And, it's been pretty crazy out there, don't you think, Brian?
It has been extremely, it's been interesting. I'll put it that way. Watching the news, I don't really watch the news. I'm more of a YouTube guy. That's where I get my information from, or from Reddit. And it has been the last about week and a half now. Has been pretty interesting. Let's see. It's been. I'm just pulling up my calendar here. Oh wow. So tomorrow, guys, what we're going to do is on this episode of the Dragoncast, it's going to be quite a bit different from what you guys are definitely normally used to listening to us talk about, because tomorrow, the 8th, well, actually today, you guys, sorry, we're recording this on Sunday, so I'm kind of used to saying, But as of the day you guys are listening to this, it'll be Monday, the 8th. Will be 2 weeks. Believe it or not, I mean, and it feels like it's been a lot longer than that, since a man by the name of George Floyd was brutally murdered by the Minneapolis Police Department. There were four police officers that were involved in that, with a man by the name of Derek Chauvin being the main individual that held his knee to Mr. Floyd's neck for, I believe, 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Before he died. Vij and I felt that this was a topic that needed to be discussed because we have a platform, and we know we have a lot of people that listen to the show, and we felt like it would be kind of weird to ignore, what's going on in the world with this situation here. And we wanted to kind of give our thoughts on this, but I first want to get into this by saying that we absolutely support and believe that Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, definitely.
We know that Black Lives Matter. I don't want to say believe, that we know. And Victor, the one thing I kind of want to make really clear here about this whole, and I'm sure you've come across this while online, it's not a subject that has been easily avoidable. If you're a kind of, I know you're not, but if someone out there listening is the kind of person that tries to avoid these kinds of conversations or subjects, it's out there. It's out there everywhere. It's kind of hard to miss it, especially if you live in a major city, which I'm sure a lot of majors. I know LA is protesting. I know. Across the river from me in Louisville, they're protesting. My old hometown of Indianapolis is protesting as well. So it's really hard to try, if you will, to not hear about this. But I want to make one thing very clear, is that we want to try to help educate some people here on some things, because I know there are some blurred lines about some of the beliefs and ideas about some things that we'd like to try to kind of help educate on. And I know one thing is the Black Lives Matter statement in and of itself. Because I will tell you this, Victor. I will tell you this, that I always I used to be one of those people many years ago. I would say probably around the time of the incident that happened in Ferguson, if you recall that, where people say Black Lives Matter, and then I'd be like, well, all lives matter. I mean, of course, Black lives, but what about everybody else, right?
That's right.
And I didn't quite realize what I was saying at the time until now. And I want to make something very clear to our audience that are listening to this. When people say Black Lives Matter, they're not saying that everybody else doesn't matter.
That's right. Yeah.
Here's how I like to equate it. if you will. You know how like in October there's this thing called Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? And they do these, I believe they have like a Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure. I know we do that in Indiana.
Yeah.
It's about breast cancer research and awareness. Okay. So here's the thing. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. It's like, look, when they talk about breast cancer awareness, it's not as if you don't see people with signs saying, well, all cancer matters. Well, of course it does. But it's just the time of the month when we talk about breast cancer. And it's okay to pinpoint that towards that. Because it's not as if, so when you see those signs that say Black Lives Matter, it is not to say that no one else does. Because let's put it this way, if Black lives don't matter, you cannot say all lives do.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a very terrible thing that happened to George Floyd. And, police brutality is, I mean, a very real thing. I mean, Victor, you live in LA, in the LA area. We were kind of talking about this a little before we started the show. There was a man by the name of Rodney King.
Yep.
Back, I believe, in the 80s.
No, that was 92.
Or 92, yeah, man. See?
You know what? Yeah. It's like you said, the police brutality thing has been going on. It's been going on for a long while. But I believe that come the Rodney King incident, people started to use video cameras, even though they were rare. But this was a rare instance that was actually caught on camera. Yeah. And, there was no denying that it happened. It happened, and it's right there on tape. Yeah. And it created an outrage, and me coming from Los Angeles, specifically living in the South Central or South Los Angeles, as it's now called now, that violence was horrible. It was ugly. The rioting was extremely dangerous, and people were angry, man. They were angry. And to be quite honest with you, everybody's has a cell phone nowadays. It's very easy to just pull out a phone and start videotaping anything and everything. So if you are pushing the boundaries and you're abusing your power, especially those in law enforcement, you're gonna get caught by somebody. And in this particular instance, it angers me, man, because the guy has his knee on the neck of George Floyd, and you hear people saying, "Hey, dude, you got your knee on the neck," or I should say, you can hear that he says he can't breathe, and the dude does nothing to ease off. I mean, come on, man. And it's just it gave me that sense of, fuck, you know what? I'm sorry. Excuse me.
No, you're good.
But it's, it gives me that sense of it's going to happen again. People are going to be outraged. We're going to get, some type of rioting. And it's heartbreaking that this even happened, Yeah. And the people have every right to be angry. They have every right to protest. And, it's just, it just got a little out of hand with the looting and the rioting, but that anger is not, how do you say it? It's justified, It is. The anger is justified. It's just that it was released in a very negative and wrong way,
Yeah, the anger is absolutely justified. I mean, these people, Black people have faced racial discrimination and prejudice for
since the dawn of time,
hundreds of years. You know what I mean? And when white folks came here to colonize this land, they had slaves to do it for them. They hired slaves. And back then it was just normal. Like, you had a Black person build your house or mow your lawn and do things, and nobody really batted an eye except for, of course, Black people. And and so, I mean, they really helped build this stuff that we enjoy, and they helped build the foundation of this country. Black people did, absolutely.
Oh,
and they,
sure.
And just hundreds of years of prejudice and racial discrimination, and then God knows how long police brutality had been going on. I mean, you said 1992 was when Rodney King happened. I mean, that was 92. It could have been going on for even longer than that we don't even know because, like you said, he had that camera. I mean, imagine how long it had been going on before we even had cameras. And especially during the civil rights movement. I mean,
yeah, the cameras, civil rights, you can forget it, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
but, I know that cameras have been around for a while. Video cameras were, not so easily accessible.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so in the public eye now. It's just that, everyone's connected. Cameras are everywhere. Videos everywhere. Yeah, we had still frames, but you know what? There's the march that, Dr. Martin Luther King did, back in Memphis, where they have the pictures of him, and it looks like it's a peaceful protest, but that's a still frame picture, man.
Yeah.
What you don't see is the stuff that happened afterwards.
Right.
And I could be wrong. Maybe it's not the same. Maybe it's not the same protest, but you can read through the history books of, fire hoses. Everyone being hosed down and being pushed away. The police pushing away, or beating some of the protesters to get them to disperse. That stuff you don't see when a camera is taking a picture moments before that happens, And now with these video cameras, man, there's no escaping nothing. And I really hope that, I don't think they haven't been tried yet. I just really hope that, the jury comes down with proper sentencing for him, Would
you say this is probably going to be one of the most looked at trial in history?
I think so, man. I think it's going to change.
It's probably going to be up there with OJ, right? It'll probably be up there with OJ, right? I mean,
I think it's going to be bigger than OJ, man.
You think it's going to be bigger than OJ?
It's going to be bigger than OJ. And here's my opinion on this, and this is why I think it's going to be bigger than OJ.
Yeah.
Oppression has been going on forever. The riots back in 92 was for the same, it's the same vein.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The difference between then and now that I believe is that the minorities, Black people, Hispanic people, Asian, we were doing it to ourselves, man, as in the rioting, as in the looting. That stayed in the South Central area because that's where, it happened and people were upset. Now, George Floyd incident happened in Minneapolis, went viral. Everybody saw it. Now we're seeing protests, not only in Minneapolis where it happened, but we're talking about Los Angeles, Indianapolis. We're talking about Dallas, Florida. We're talking about everywhere, New York.
Yeah, man.
Everyone is getting involved, and it's not just minorities getting involved. We're seeing white people protest as well. So it's everybody actually joining together to say, hey, this is wrong.
Yeah. I was watching something on YouTube the other night. They're talking about, because obviously the 3 officers are going to have a separate trial from the one that Derek Chauvin's going to have. And it's one of the guys I was watching. I forget what I was watching, but it was they were saying, how is Derek Chauvin going to be able to have a fair trial? Like who's gonna because they can't have it in Minneapolis because it's kind of like the OJ Simpson thing. They had to move his trial somewhere else too, and they're probably gonna have to move. Where do you move him? Because this is on a national scale. I mean, you'd have to live in a hole in the ground to not know what the hell's been going on the last 2 weeks. So so where do you have his trial at? I mean, who do you get to be on that jury? Who would be on that jury?
Right.
Without having an unbiased opinion of what he did.
You'd have to find
that's a hard thing to do.
Antarctica that don't have TVs,
Did you say Antarctica?
But you know what?
I mean,
you gotta see it this way, though. You gotta see it this way.
Yeah.
You're saying he's not gonna have a fair trial, or it's possible that he may not have a fair trial. But the reason for that being is because I believe the actions on that video are so blatant.
I mean,
that it's like it's an automatic, dude. What are you doing?
Come on.
What? Come on,
Like, come on. Like what jury is gonna really find him not guilty? I just
exactly.
I mean,
it's kind of like it's so obvious. It's so blatant.
And I want to make
wrong, and you were caught, and you can't fight that. I just don't understand that.
And I want to make one thing really clear before the trolls probably say something about what I said. Look, it's not that I think what Derek Chauvin did was right by when I mean a fair trial. It's just I'm talking logistically speaking. Like,
Yeah, there's
you
a
know,
justice system, and there's laws.
imagine the
Yeah.
challenges they're going to have trying to, put him somewhere where he can have a jury of his peers, which also will be hard to his peers. Who, who would his peers be? Like,
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
I mean, but that's going to be a very, interesting thing to keep up with. But other thing I want to get into while we're discussing this is white privilege. I hear that phrase get tossed around a lot. And there's a lot of people who think they know what that means, and they don't really know what that means. And what tends to be the case when someone talks about white privilege is they think that it means working hard. They equate white privilege to working, like at a job, or being successful. Like I'll give you an example. I was discussing last night with someone who was saying, they were basically telling me that all races have it hard. And for you to say, black people are successful, they were giving me like all these examples like Oprah Winfrey and Tupac and Ja Rule and Obama and Kanye, they probably gave me like a handful of black people that are successful. And it's like, well, okay, nobody said that black people can't be successful. It's that it's the path that a black person takes versus the path that a white person takes is probably more often than not going to be a completely different path, because white people don't really face racial discrimination when it comes to trying to be successful. It's almost the same as like women. I was having this conversation with my wife last night. Women have a harder time a lot of times being successful in the workplace, especially in an office environment. Having to compete with men for a better raise and money and pay and positions and things like that. So the thing is that the white privilege doesn't necessarily mean about getting successful, because black people and white people, at the end of the day, they can still climb the mountain. But the path for black people is a lot more jagged and full of rocks, more often than not, than it is for a white person.
Yeah.
And that's the white privilege. The white privilege is that you don't have to worry about, as I myself as a white person, I am not afraid when a cop pulls me over. I don't have to worry if I'm going to be discriminated for the color of my skin when I get pulled over by a police officer. Right? Whereas a person of color, mostly black people, they have to worry about that. Right? And it's not because they have a record or because they're a criminal, because I see that a lot too. Like, oh, well, if you're scared of the police, you probably have a felony. That's not true. That's not true. And that's what white privilege is, folks. It has nothing to do with success. It has nothing to do with having a nice home. That's not what white privilege is, man.
No, it's I think I had seen this. I read it once. I just don't recall exactly where the true essence, I guess you can say, of the white privilege phrase is essentially, seen or unseen, the white image or the white person is, has a catering to. For example, without even realizing it, when you walk into a store, maybe the display or packaging on items show the white person, light skinned, blonde hair, maybe, or that's just subliminal, subconsciously. It just makes it that way, where you feel like, oh, I'm in a more comfortable spot. This is my white privilege image. I don't have to worry about anything because it's being catered. I don't want to say catered, but it just gets that sense that you're being catered to an extent, and that's not the case with people of color.
Yeah.
And I think that the world, I think the world is getting better at it now today, because I think we're a little more educated to an extent. I mean, we have those bad apples out there that keep screwing it up for everybody else.
Yep.
But I mean, it's getting better. But like I said, I read a lot of these articles. I just forget where I read them.
Mm.
But another one that reminds me of, you got to keep in mind that white privilege is in play here since the beginning of America. White man, white, race has been the predominant race.
Yes.
Everybody else is catching up. And I think that's the reason why you see when people apply for scholarships, oh, are you a woman? Are you of color? Are you of, not white? You might actually be able to qualify for, extra assistance. Here's some extra money. It's those little things like that that kind of give the sense of, hey, there's not an equal plane here. It's almost as if we're trying to make up for that lost time. Or I should say, white America's trying to make up for that lost time to try to give us those opportunities to catch up.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. And when we have instances, like this, what happened with George Floyd, it just comes to show that the equality is just not there yet. As much as we try to make it so, it's still not there,
No. And it's a shame too that we're in a new decade now. We're in the 2020s, and this is still a thing. Like, this is still, this year has been pretty shitty. And, I mean, it's bad enough that, I'm not afraid to say it. We don't have a very good person in office right now, right? We don't have a great leader like we should. We don't. We're still let's everybody forget in a pandemic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, and you've got governors trying to remind people. I've been to 2 protests in the past week. My very first protest I've ever been to. I've never protested anything. Okay, and because I now look at it as, I feel like as a white person, I have a responsibility to also be a loud voice for my fellow Black Americans who are not getting their voices heard. Right. So I went down to Louisville. I live about 8 minutes away literally right across the bridge from here is Louisville, and went to a protest. And here's the thing. The media, they always try to portray this as violent and rioting. That's what they show. And I have some video that I'm going to put up, not on here, but I mean, like, in another place, but I'll share it with people and stuff if they want to see it, of the protests that I went to, which were extremely peaceful. There was even some police officers there helping people, which was really cool to see. They had bottles of water for people. They were giving out food. They had it's been hella hot down here, and they had kids giving out popsicles to people. I mean, this is the stuff that the media doesn't show, because the media has this thing where they try to sensationalize it all, right? It's because we all forget, right? We all forget that the media is the TV channel. They have ratings, okay? They have people that are telling them that they have to have better ratings than, we'll say, CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. They are still competing for ratings. Let's everybody forget.
Make that clear. Yeah.
They're competing for ratings. That's just what it comes down to. Not that they're soulless and heartless and don't give a damn. Some of them do. Very few of the mainstream media do. But I wish they would show that more. I know it's their duty to report the news on this and that, but you're making these people who don't want to protest kind of you're not giving them reason to really want to go down there and do it, because all they're seeing is violence and the looting and the rioting, and then they get scared and they don't want to go down there. I'm not gonna lie, when I first went, I took a friend of mine with me, and I was a little scared. I didn't know what I was gonna get myself into, because 2 nights ago they looted and rioted. They broke into the CVS downtown, and they were breaking into they broke into a bar. We're stealing bottles of Hennessy out of it. So I was a little afraid, but I got down there and it was not that at all. It was the exact opposite of what I saw. And as far as the white privilege thing goes too, I always try to equate something to what I always try to relate to something that I know, which is video games. All right. White people basically live on easy mode. That's kind of the way I look at it. All right, we're on easy mode. We don't have to worry about being really intimidated or I know you didn't want to say catered to, but I mean, really, that's what it is. I mean, we don't have, if I got pulled over and never had a ticket, I'd probably get told to go ahead and go. But if a black person got pulled over, and they'd probably pull them out of the car and search them, and then look up their record, and then do all of that stuff. It's kind of like Brock Turner. You know Brock Turner, the rapist, white guy. He got sentenced for 6 months, only served 3, right?
Yeah, that's crazy stuff.
White guy, man. And I'm sure there's been cases of black people who have done the same thing, and they went to prison for like 3 or 4 years, right? With no evidence. And Brock Turner had people that he got held down by like 2 or 3 people that pulled him off of Chanel Miller, which was who he raped, and that was right there. It's kind of like you said, it wasn't on video, but he had eyewitnesses there. It's kind of like it's a no-brainer. It's like a duh, like he did it. So
it's crazy,
yeah.
It speaks insane, again. It speaks to the inequality that's still out there, whether it be, whatever the hell it is. It's not where it should be. And I also want to make clear too, we have protesters and we have looters.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that protesters are looters. I honestly do believe that there are 2 separate groups, because we have had peaceful protests here in the Southland, Southern California.
Yeah.
And we've also had, once those protests are over and people go home, then we have this other group of people that just go out there and wreak havoc, Yeah. And I wanted to make mention, just to give you guys an example of the media and what they want to portray. Just like you said, a couple nights ago, let's say a week or so ago, when the looting started to go on and we had the National Guard going into cities and whatnot, the news, I'm not going to name the specific channel, but we're watching the news with my wife, and it's still early afternoon, let's say 5, 6 p.m. Late afternoon, 5, 6, 4, whatever. Yeah. And peaceful protests, in so-and-so city. Peaceful protests in so-and-so city. The news people were jumping from city to city to city, showing that it was peaceful. The moment that hell broke loose on any one of those cities because rioters stepped in, the whole focus just jumped on that.
Of course.
Now they stopped showing the peacefulness going in city A, B, and C, and they focused on city D because this is where the action's going on. Yeah. And it baffled me to an extent, because it's like, I get it, they're getting ratings, but come on, man, you gotta wash this out with, hey, you know what? This is a negative instance from a certain group of people. Not everybody is doing this. Right. And they just jumped on that. They didn't stay away from it. They stayed there. And that was the rest of the show right there. That was the next of the, actually I called it show, but this was news, man. Come on, people. Yeah, man. That's where it stayed. It stayed right there, and it showed this, and you're seeing people being chased down, and that's where they stayed. They did not leave that area. And I get it. You want to report the news. But hey, how about you check back in on city A and check back in on city B and see if making sure that that's cool. But they didn't do that. They stayed on city D, and let's just follow this guy around. Oh, I see a police officer here. Chopper XYZ is following so and so. It's insane. But that's what it was. Bro. That's what it was.
It's ratings, brother. That's I don't get it. Like,
it's insane. And you know what? Yeah. Los Angeles area is extremely diverse.
I believe that. Yeah.
There's people from all parts of the world, of every nationality, every ethnicity, that have some stake in Los Angeles, and and to see the peaceful side of that, down City Hall, 10,000 plus people or whatever number that was just insane. Yeah, peaceful. It was great, no issues. Maybe lasted about 5 minutes on the news before they went to wherever it was that people were running away from cops in Hollywood or wherever it was. And I'm like, dude, go back to LA and show the goodness, man. Show what we've been doing. Show the children that were out there because they're with their parents, and the parents are telling them, I want to show my kid that, hey, protesting is good. It's okay to speak your voice. And there's nothing to be afraid of, to be able to say, hey, I got a voice and I have something to say. But instead they jump off to something else, and it's sad, man. At the end of the day, it's sad.
It is, yeah. That's, but then again, you're not, you're talking about mainstream media, man. That's just it all ties back to ratings, brother. That's what it comes to. And it's a really shitty thing that is that, you know, it shouldn't be just about ratings. I mean, you know, take one for the team, damn it. Like, for once, let's not just care about rate. And I get that it is kind of like being stuck in between a rock and a hard place. But honestly, is it though? Like, because at the end of the day, what should this really be about, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I just I want to say this, man. I challenge, if you're listening to this, man, I challenge you. Just use your voice. Don't stay silent. I know there's people like, I want to stay silent. I don't want to talk about it. But I kind of feel like this is one of those things you just shouldn't be silent about. Like,
yeah, that's right.
You know, we got fellow Americans here. Yeah, they're black. They're different skin color than you. But man, we're in this together, man. Like, we know, it's kind of like that's one reason why I wanted to do this on this show, is because, yeah, we talk about technology, we talk about entertainment, we like having fun on this show. We've had some really great guests on this show. We like to laugh and stuff. But man, that's not reality, though. Reality is not fun, having fun all the time.
All fun and games, yeah.
You know, and I bounced this back and forth because I was just thinking, man, what are we talking about this week, you know? And I was like, no, you know, and I went to the protests and stuff, and I was like, man, I would just feel like I'm cheating all these people that need to be heard out of another platform for their voices to be heard. And so I challenge you, if you're listening to this right now and you're not doing anything, you don't have to go down and protest if you don't feel comfortable doing that. Like, I get it. There's people that, for some reason, it's not for everybody, right? It's not. I get it. People have anxiety, right? They don't want to be in a big crowd like that.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. We all have social media, right? Say something. Like, whether it's a post, whether it's a comment, something. We have to take a stand for this, because if we don't, who will, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And our country is in a horrible spot right now. Like, you know, I think it's really ironic that in less than a month we're celebrating the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
And this country has seen so much, and it's only been 2 weeks, man. Isn't that nuts? It feels like it's been longer than that. I think the reason why it feels like it's been longer than that is because we've been dealing with COVID-19 for like the last 4 months.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, we've been dealing with crap this whole year, you know.
And then this happens, and then the focus is, and if you're gonna go protest, please be safe. Like, wear a mask if you can. If you see something, say something. Something happens at a protest, do something. Don't like be a hero or anything like that. Don't do something stupid. But
don't you don't want to risk your
don't risk your life,
your well-being,
your health, or your well-being.
No, there's cops. There's cops everywhere, and you know what?
Yeah.
Even though they're being scrutinized right now,
you
gotta keep in mind, there's just a couple of bad apples everywhere, in every race, nationality, ethnicity. There's a couple bad apples, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just so happens that this particular person, this group of police officers were caught being, not doing what we, the taxpayers, pay them for.
Yeah.
And, they're busted. Now they need to become, they need to come in front of a jury, in front of a judge.
They need to be made an example of, is what they need to do.
And I believe they will be. I mean,
I hope that.
I think all hell's going to break loose, to be honest with you. This is why I think this is so much more bigger, and this is just so much.
Oh, this is way bigger than OJ, man. This is going to be
OJ or anything.
This is going to be the most scrutinized trial in the entire history of the United States. Like, I
honestly believe this is going to be a turning point in the state of affairs in America. I think that this trial is going to shift how we as a society just interact going forward.
Yeah, and I think
so I think this is huge.
Yeah,
I think it's real huge.
And I hope that those officers are made an example of. They need to be, because even though a couple of them weren't really necessarily directly responsible for his death, they were responsible still. Like, I know there was an Asian guy who was kind of standing there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been able to put yourself through that entire 8-minute video. I watched it one time, and that was enough for me. I
didn't sit through the whole thing.
And it was God, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to watch. And he's just standing there, just telling the people to back off. And I'm just thinking, like, what?
Like, what's going on?
There's a man down there crying for his mama, dude.
Yeah.
And I just I don't know, man. It's such a heartbreaking thing.
And just to show, the changes that have already been made based on what happened to George Floyd, in the city of Los Angeles. Again, I don't know if this is nationwide,
sure,
but here in LA, they've already been a press conference where the chief of police has already said anybody standing around not bringing a fellow officer up to speed, up to code, and not stopping them from doing something stupid, they'll also be held accountable.
Well, as they should be.
There's already no questions, no gray area. It's like, hey, you were there, you didn't stop it, you too will be held accountable for this. And to be quite honest with you, man, I see this as common sense. If I'm seeing someone, doing something stupid, and I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing, man? Stop that. It's just one of
here's
those
the
deals,
thing.
Man.
Here's what's going to make this case really interesting, because I don't think a lot of people realize I love researching things. There's this problem on social media, and this is another thing that needs to stop too. We can get into that later, but like, people will see something on social media, they'll find something on the internet, and they'll immediately post it on Facebook as if it's like Bible truth. Like it's like, please, for the love of God, if you do anything, people, before you like reshare, retweet, post it on your Facebook, anything like that, research it first, because I've had to even tell my own friends, like, bro, that happened like 20 years ago. Like, that's old.
Yeah.
Like, or oh, I didn't realize that. Well, do some research, maybe like, but we have a society that is so quick to want to talk about something or share their idea. They don't really want to do the research. So do the research on stuff. But as far as this case goes, the 3 officers that were with Derek Chauvin at the time of him murdering George Floyd, they were all rookie police officers. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did hear that. And I think I read that one of them was on the job, like, wasn't even a weekend, I believe.
Yeah. And they apparently, from what I read, don't know how accurate this is, so don't quote me on this, but when the other 3 were arrested, they were saying that Derek Chauvin was their training officer, and that they were just kind of following his orders. And I guess one of the 3, or the other 2 that were further down on George Floyd, because there's another video that shows a behind the view angle where you can actually see all 3. There was 4 officers involved. There was an Asian guy that was standing next to Derek. There were 3 officers that actually had George Floyd down on the ground, with Derek Chauvin being the one that essentially killed him with his knee on his neck. But there were 2 other officers as well that were next to him that were also holding him down. One of the officers, I believe, was reported as saying, they asked Derek Chauvin, can we like turn him over on his belly, or can we roll him over on his side? And they said, and Derek Chauvin said no. So rumor has it that they're going to try, when they get prosecuted or whatever, they're going to try to say that, oh, we were just new cops, we didn't know. And look, I'm sorry, but look, that don't fly. There is no way in hell you're going to sit there.
That's what I'm saying, man.
No.
I understand it's your job. That badge is to serve and protect. And even though someone is on the ground and they've already been apprehended or just being held down, I mean, you have 4 men, and 2 of them are holding him down, and 1 guy's on his neck.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, what's he gonna do at that point in time? There's no need for that excessive force, And at that point in time, it's like, hey, dude, you hit him on the shoulder. Like, dude, you got to get off his neck, man. Come on. We already got him. There's 2 guys here.
Yeah.
There's 4. What's one going to do against 4 that's cuffed? Yeah. Come on.
And I've been reading some people also saying, like, what about the people who were filming? Like, okay, first off, the person that was filming was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she's not going to just try to – and they were black too, so you don't know what they – like, can you imagine – it's so funny. I see all these white people telling people like, "Oh, why didn't they just go out there? They're black.
Dude, well,
they're not going to just walk up there. They might have got shot. They might have got shot."
Exactly. That's exactly my point. Just imagine this. Imagine someone, just say a young black person, just to emphasize this point, starts running towards 4 cops that are holding down a man. What do you think they're gonna do, man? I see a threat.
Oh yeah.
I see a threat coming towards me.
Yeah.
They're gonna react towards that threat. And then it's just going to be even more of, just hell on earth. So, like I said, you don't want to endanger yourself. But if you're seeing something crazy like that, you definitely want to bring it to people's attention, whether it be by yelling, by screaming, by filming. Say, dude, hey, get off the guy's neck. Because I could be wrong. Like I said, maybe I'm confusing it with another video that I saw of a police officer with their knee on someone's neck, probably doing a protesting, I believe. And one of the cops, as a matter of fact, it was a different video because a separate cop went over there, grabbed this cop's knee and moved it from the guy's neck onto the back. I'm going to look for that video and I'm going to send it to you guys just so you can add that on.
Yeah.
Where this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Hey, this guy's in the wrong. Move it off the dude's neck, put it on the back, or if you have to, put it on the back. But again, man, this is just some stuff where it's like, dude, you're excessive force here, man.
Yeah, man.
Fuck up.
So let's shift this into before we move on, because we did want to we obviously wanted to make this the forefront of our discussion today. We are going to move on to some other topics. Not that we don't care, because we do. I just felt that we needed to talk about this because you can't not talk about it, right? And it's important. And we're not talking about it for ratings. We don't give a shit about that here. So, we don't give a damn about the ratings on the show, like at all.
What,
so,
man? We talk about what we want. We pretty much say what comes.
Yeah, man. Talk about what we're passionate about.
Opinions.
Yeah.
But then but you know what? Just to touch base on having a voice one more time.
Yeah.
We speak what we speak. We say what we say. If we touch one person, that one person might, spread the word to, hey, check out these guys. And now we got 2 people. And those people start spreading the word, and you just never know.
That's right.
If you, just speak your mind, guys. Say what you got to say.
That's right.
You just never know who you'll touch and who you'll reach and how far that reach will actually go. You just don't know. So don't have a voice. You guys all have voices.
It's silence says a lot. And sometimes your silence says more than what it should. And which is why I'm like, don't, there's people out there who probably will be unfortunately remembered for their silence in times where they should have spoke up. Yeah. And I hear this all the time. Like, people are like, well, I'm just one voice. Yeah. But like you just said, Victor, one voice can change a multitude of people. And I mean, honestly, history has definitely shown more often than not that has, a person, a single voice can change tons. One thing I wanted to talk to you about, Victor, in correlation to all of this, is a response to the George Floyd incident, if you will, is Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner. I believe he said this about a few days ago. Basically apologized, said that the NFL was wrong.
That's right.
In their treatment of their players protesting during the national anthem. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the NFL and Roger Goodell apologizing about this whole
It's damage control. That's what it is. It's damage control. Because think about it. Once the NFL kicks off, don't you think there's going to be more than one NFL player on their knees when they start off?
Oh.
I mean, can you imagine the outcry of the people already. You know, they're already
Mhm.
saying Kaepernick was doing this back in
Yeah.
the day, 5 years ago or so, I believe.
Mhm.
And he was doing this without a camera in front of him. He wasn't speaking out per se.
Yeah.
He wasn't making himself, you know, flamboyant. Look at me. I'm down on the knee. No, he had a belief. He went down on his knee. Just so happens that a reporter caught him on his knee and said, "Hey, you know what's going on here?" And Kaepernick
Mhm.
spoke his mind and told him what he was doing.
Yeah.
Kaepernick was not seeking out that publicity. He was
No.
doing it because he had a belief in his heart and he wanted to show a sign to say, "Hey, this is what I believe in."
Yeah.
Now, 5 years later, you know, the NFL is coming back and saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? We shouldn't have given Kaepernick such a hard time for that." No, I don't think so,
Mhm.
my friend.
Mhm.
That's upsetting.
Yeah,
But it's damage control is what it is, you know?
I think you're right. It is damage control in the NFL because let's face it, we're in June. The preseason starts in 2 months.
Yep.
I mean, they know their players are going to take a knee. The players are. I mean, I just read on my phone. I have ESPN on my phone. I get all these updates. I mean, I'm a huge football fan, by the way, for those listening.
Mm-hmm.
And Adrian Peterson just came out and said, "You damn right, I'm going to be taking a knee."
Yeah. Yep.
During this season, and it is damage control. That's exactly what it is. And part of me, a small part of me, wants to think that the NFL is trying to do the right thing, but it's just like the mainstream media. They are a business. They want your money. Now the players absolutely are sincere. Look at what happened with Drew Brees. He got quickly called out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For his comments of don't disrespect the flag. Ladies and gentlemen, it was never about the flag. I had been saying that.
Yeah.
I had been saying that since the very first time Kaepernick took a knee. It was never about the flag. It's never been about the flag. And but fast forward, like you said, 5 years later, here we are now, and that's the unfortunate part about America. Is the only way it seems that we ever learn is through tragedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we are now, and you're absolutely right. It's damage control. They have a preseason starting in 2 months. They want to fill stadiums. And the NFL is not going to tell. They're not going to take this stance of don't protest.
Yeah.
They would be freaking crazy to do that, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, especially now. So it's damage control. That's absolutely what it is. I felt that way when I first heard that. I was like, okay, come on. You guys' preseason is starting in 2 months, and you're trying to make all this apology now. Okay. All right.
Exactly. You had 5 years, like I said, man.
Like it makes me wonder.
Was out here.
Yeah, like it makes me wonder if this happened in like February when there's, during the off season, would they even give a shit about it? Like, would he even say anything? Like, they're already trying to find ways to fill stadiums. We're in a pandemic. I know basketball, the NBA, which is probably the most progressive sport in our basketball league in our entire country. With Adam Silver always promotes. He's been promoting the protesting. He's all about the players. Having a voice about things. Except for, I guess, when they have to go to China because they can't talk bad about China.
Yeah, but I hear you.
They voted to start basketball back up, Victor, July 15th, I think.
July.
That's all
July 15th is when they do their 2-week training camp, I believe.
Yeah, and then
the season should start, or the new season or playoff.
Yeah,
31st.
And it's 8 game season for each team. I think they're like 22 teams, I think. 9 in the East, and I think the rest in the West.
Yeah.
And they're going to play 8 games.
Regular season games.
And then they're going to do a playoffs. And they said that if they have a game 7 of the finals, it'd be like October 17th or something weird, which is essentially that's the preseason of the NBA.
Starting of the next season, yeah.
But these leagues are trying to find ways to fill stadiums, and of course the NFL they already have a bad reputation from what they had to deal with Kaepernick taking a stand, taking a knee more like, and for police brutality, And did they even mention Kaepernick's name? No. He didn't.
Right?
He didn't apologize to Colin.
Yeah, and that's what needs to happen.
That's what needs to happen. They need to make things right with him.
It's a well-known underground fact, I guess. Kaepernick was definitely a target, and he was, blackballed, and he was, wasn't given the rightful opportunity to continue his career after all this.
Yeah.
And that cost him his livelihood, his passion, his love for the game.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what he did and what it cost him. And he was willing to do that.
The sacrifices that Colin Kaepernick made.
He deserves an apology, if not
does.
much more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude.
And I mean, he made a lot of sacrifices to do it. He basically traded in his love for the game to fight for a cause. And that's how it should be. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. That's how it should be.
That's right.
Like, and that, I mean, I'm not saying go quit your job, right? Like, don't, but.
No, but what we are saying is if you have something you believe in, you definitely want to speak up and say something about it, Even if you have a camera in front of you or not. If it's something you believe in, you stand up for it.
And what needs to happen is if there are police officers that we need the good apples in the police departments to also stand up against the bad apples.
Yeah.
That's what we need to see. Like, I remember there was a cop that took off his riot gear and all of his vest and stuff, and he walked with people. Do you remember reading about that? He took off his riot shield and all that, and he said, "Hey, what do you want from me? What can I do?" And they said, "March with us." And he's like, "Okay, you got it." Like, he took off his gear. This was a white cop, by the way, and he did that. And then I'm seeing videos, like, I don't know if you saw this picture, but there was a video of a black police officer who was in front of the line, and he took a knee with some of the protesters, and a white police officer yanked him away and said, "We are supposed to be against them, not for them."
No, I did not see that. Really?
There is a video.
I gotta look for that.
I will have to find that video for you. And it was just it was a baffling thing to see. That, so please, if you are a cop, your voice can be heard too. If you are also disgusted with this,
see, the way I see it is we're all Americans.
Absolutely.
We are all Americans. Police
Absolutely.
officers are Americans too, and some police officers are just as outraged as we are. The only difference is they're on the side of the law, so they have to keep the protesters, make sure things are peaceful. But don't get me wrong, there's some out there that are also frustrated and are also upset and want to join that line, but can't if they are on duty. I get it. But like I said, there's a couple of bad apples out there that, are yanking officers away from joining or from displaying solidarity. Man, that's just not right. I mean, come on. Are you not American? What's going on here, dude?
Yeah. But we're gonna move forward from this subject, and hopefully you stuck through all that. For those listening, we appreciate you. Please, if you can, there's a lot of great causes out there you can donate to. There's tons of GoFundMe's out there for people. There is so many ways you can let your voice be heard, because this is the time that we need to be united, right? Now more than ever, because this could only get worse as it could. And please don't be afraid to let your voice be heard. Please stand. We need to stand together, and we need to support our Black Americans in this time of need and support, because this shit has gone on far too long.
Oh yeah.
So I wasn't quite sure how to transition into something completely different.
So shifting gears.
We're gonna shift gears in literally. That's a good transition. That was a good transition.
I got
I love you, Victor. You're amazing. You're the best. Literally shifting gears. We're gonna talk about Sega, because Sega just announced, I think this was like earlier this week, that they are going to be releasing a Game Gear Micro. for those who don't know, Sega made the Sega Genesis Mini. They released that, I think, last summer or earlier or late last year.
Yeah, I think it was late last year.
And for those who are not sure what the hell a Game Gear is, it was essentially Sega's attempt at not a very good attempt, by the way, at a portable console or at a handheld console. I mean,
yeah, it was their answer to Nintendo's Game Boy.
It was their answer to like the Game Boy Color.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, the color. That's right.
And they had like Sonic on there. I mean, you name it, they had it. Sega stuff. And so Sega thinks that they're going to make tons of money somehow by introducing a Game Gear Micro. And I'm looking at pictures of this thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too.
And let me pull this news article back up. This is from The Verge. They're a really great source of video game news and information, which I tend to use. One of the many I go to. So props to them. But they put out, this was a thing they released back on the 3rd. Now, initially I heard that the Game Gear Micro was going to be $200. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, who's going to pay $200 for this little? It's so tiny. But it's 4 $50 consoles, and you only get 4 games on each one.
Yeah.
And
you know what? There's 4. Each one is a different color. I think like red, blue, yellow, and black.
Yeah.
And each one has 4 different
games.
I guess pre-installed games in them.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to play Sonic, I guess you'd have to get the black one, even though you love blue. And there's no way to interchange it. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong there. But what I'm looking at is that there's 4 games into each one, and each one has 4 completely different games on them.
Yeah. So the black model, which is basically I have Sonic the Hedgehog, Puyo 2, and of which I've only played Outrun and Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's kind of strange.
I'm gonna look this
but
up.
It's got like these little circly, slimy creature type things, man. That's an old school type game there. But it's very similar to a Tetris. Oh, you know what? It's more similar to Dr. Mario.
Oh, here we go.
That's probably the best way to.
Yeah. Okay. It does look a lot like Dr. Mario.
Dr. Mario type game where you line up the colors together and whatnot.
Okay.
It's very similar to that.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyways, we're talking about these little tiny.
I mean, they're tiny. They're really small.
We're looking at what, like 2 inches across, maybe?
We're
talking about a screen? It
says it's a 1.15 inch display.
Diagonal display. Oh, man.
You get a headphone jack, a single mono speaker. It charges over USB, but can also run off of 2 AAA batteries.
Okay, no. This is not going to work. First of all,
my hands are too big.
Tiny screen. Yeah. The tiny screen is going to strain my eyes so much that I'm not even going to bother putting that thing up to my face so I can see.
Well,
imagine playing Sonic. You're moving so quickly. You really think you're going to catch everything on that little ass?
Well, Victor, that's okay because we have a product for you. Because Sega is including a mini version of its big window magnifying glass accessory.
As a matter of fact, it's called the Sega Big Window.
It's called the Sega Big Window. It's no joke. It looks really ridiculous. Like, I mean, honestly, I'm seeing a picture of this thing, and I'm thrust right back into the 90s.
That's what I'm saying. Are we going backwards here? Because this thing looks just like the Game Boy with that magnifying screen with a light on it. It's so funny that the Game Boy, the original one, I'm talking about the one released back in the late 80s, 90s, early 90s. That thing, had that green screen, but there were so many adapters for it. You can get the magnifying screen, you can get the light for it. And it's talking this whole, not my final form yet, because it had so much crap you could add to it. This particular thing looks just like something that belongs in that time frame.
Yeah. The blue variant comes with Sonic Chaos, Gunstar Heroes. Gunstar Heroes is probably one of my favorite Sega Genesis games of all time. It's great. If you've ever played Gunstar Heroes, do yourself a favor. Go and I don't really like.
Check that out.
I'm not a big fan of emulation, playing singles on emulation via emulation. I like to play it on the actual thing. But You're probably not going to find a Game Gear anytime soon. You probably find a Genesis for about $30-$40. But go use an emulator, play Gunstar Heroes. It's such a great game. It has Sylvian Tail, Baku Baku Animal. The yellow one looks like the Shining Force one. It's got like 3 Shining Force games, and then this game called Nazo Puyo Aruru no Ru. I probably didn't say that right, but whatever. And then the red one, has Revelations: The Demon Slayer. This is an interesting title of a game. Megami.
What is it?
Revelations: The Demon Slayer. Then the second game is really interesting. It's called Megami Tensei Gaiden Last Bible Special. Is that a is that a Shin Megami Tensei like game?
I don't know, dude. It could
Are you
be.
familiar with Shin Megami Tensei?
Yeah, I am.
Like, because it says Megami Tensei, so that to me, and it's made by Atlas, and that's who does Persona. So,
yeah, it could be. But what I'm seeing for the red one is the Megami Tensei Gaiden Last Bible and the Last Bible Special. So I'm showing 2. Aside from the GG Shinobi and Columns, weird. Are you showing the same ones?
No, I'm showing 4. It's Megami Tensei Gaiden Last Bible Special. That's the whole title of the game.
I got you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like
I'm reading off of Polygon, so I think Polygon might have it wrong.
They probably have it wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you got the GG Shinobi and then Columns. I mean, honestly, I think what would have been really cool is if for the black Game Gear, they should have went with Sonic the Hedgehog, Outrun, Columns, and probably I don't even know what the 4th game would be because I didn't really play
like Altered Beast or something like that, you know.
Altered Beast, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
something like that would be cool.
But
you know that 1-inch screen is just it's not gonna fly for anybody.
No.
That thing is just too small, man. And then if you got a video game running on that thing that's gonna have a lot of pixelation going back and forth. I don't even see how Sonic would run on that thing. That's gonna have so much crap on the screen moving so quickly. I just don't see it working. But again, who knows? Maybe there's people out there that like tiny stuff and they're gonna buy this. I don't know.
So I'm gonna shoot you over.
This is too small of a screen.
So I'm gonna shoot this over to you, Victor. I discovered my buddy James. For those who don't know, my really good friend James. He goes by Joe Rilex on YouTube. He is the guy who edits all of our videos. Our video podcasts. Go check him out, youtube.com/Joe Rilex. I'll put a link in the description below. But he's the one that edits all of our YouTube stuff together. Anyway, he shot this over to me last night, and I want this. I'm going to shoot you this link, Victor. I want you to look at this with me. Let me send it to you.
All right.
I'll send it to you via the good old Facebook Messenger.
Oh,
send this to you.
Yeah.
I'll send this to you here. So what this is a emulator that takes 2D NES games and makes them into 3D games.
Ooh.
And it's really weird. Like, you're going to see a picture of Mega Man in a way you will have never seen it before.
Oh, yeah, that looks amazing. And I
really
love Mega Man.
So this is called 3D NES. And I watched a video on YouTube of this guy who he does like Ghosts and Goblins. He says is his favorite game. And he starts playing it, and then you can actually take your mouse and rotate the game, and it becomes a 3D environment. So like if you see that picture of Mega Man, you notice how he's kind of the platforms are sticking out. That's all 3D.
Yeah, that's right.
You can even see the shadows.
Yeah, you got shadows
in the back of the life bar and the points at the top and all that. And this is a very interesting thing to check out. There's even a video, Victor, if you want to check that out too. He's playing Castlevania.
Yeah.
And you can even see the
that's right.
environment moving. And that has got to be one of the. I wanted to share that with you today.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's really cool to see that. It's a Vietnamese developer Tran Vu Truck. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too. Created this, and it's on a YouTube channel called Geode Studio. Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, he did not give away how this process works, but there's a recent video I watched last night where he basically puts the ROM files into a program that he wrote. and he creates a geode, which is why it's called geodes, of all the games.
Wow.
Giving you backgrounds and things like that.
Wow.
You can even go all the way behind the game. Like I think that video at the bottom of Castlevania, he rotates it all the way. Like you could see behind the trees and stuff. It's really, really, really cool. But I wanted to share that with you guys on the show today because I think that's such an interesting thing.
Yeah, talk about looking at it from a different perspective. Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah, and I would love to get my hands on that. And you can go to 3dnes.com. And I don't think they've released this yet to download, but I will be checking it out. And when I do check it out, I'll let you guys know because I want to see Mario on this thing, and I want to play Mega Man 2. I gotta play it.
Dude, he's got the Legend of Cage on here.
Yeah, man, I know, right?
I'm looking at it. I'm like, wow, that one would look amazing only because you're always jumping and hanging off of stuff. And wow, man. Yeah, that's some good stuff right there.
I would love to play Ninja Gaiden on that.
Ninja Gaiden would be another one.
Ninja Gaiden looks so amazing. Good on that. Oh my god, yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, the Castlevania one definitely has a more 3D-ish look to it.
Yeah.
More so than the others, it seems. But it definitely looks pretty neat. This is a great way of looking at these old games, man. It looks amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to check out. I'll try to do that when I can. So, Mitchell, let me ask you, man. Speaking of games, what have you been getting into lately, man? Is there any games that's kind of got you hooked right now? What have you been playing lately, man? If you've been playing
any games that have gotten me hooked, I haven't started anything new, to be quite honest with you. I have been going back to Cuphead.
I love Cuphead. It's
only
so
because I found myself not having the extended amount of time to sit down and play, so I can't get into a story mode.
Yeah.
But Cuphead allows me that quick, expert mode, devil match, and let's go. Let's do this for a good 20 minutes and go from there, So I really like the 2D platforming type games, only because I think they're quick. It's a matter of, let me just get some gaming in because I'm itching to play. So I'll get into that real quick, but nothing that has my attention long term right now. Nothing at all. Other than that and Silent Hill stuff, for whatever reason, man, Silent Hill was calling me the other day.
Silent Hill
was calling me. Silent Hill. And I started to go, I haven't played it yet. I should say I have played them. But I haven't restarted the series. But something was calling me about Silent Hill, and I went back and started looking at these YouTube videos with the history of the first game and the second game and third and Homecoming and Shattered Memories. I just went through the whole storyline, only because there was something about it that was calling my attention. I think I'm gonna get back into it. I think it's because this whole Gen 5 Silent Hill. PS5 Silent Hills might be coming out. So I think that's what's causing that itch. You know what I mean? I think that's what's causing that itch. I think it's getting me ready to be like, you know what? I want that. I want to see a Silent Hills game on PS5.
Did you play PT?
I did not play PT. I did not get a chance to download that before they got rid of it, man.
I'm like one of the
I
few
caught that
people
on YouTube too. I was like, oh man, I have to watch that to see what's up. But I did not get a chance to play that.
Rumor has it that the rumor is that they're going to be doing Silent Hills, and they're going to have Norman Reedus come back.
That's what I'm hearing too, and I think.
And I hope they do. Too. God, I hope they do.
So I don't know what's going on there. There's definitely some rustling in the bushes here. There's something going on. We just the information hasn't been out there, so I don't know. I'm really hoping that once PS5 comes out, an announcement will also come out with new Silent Hills games, whatever they decide to call it. But it's calling me. It's calling me.
We can actually tie in the video gaming industry to the incident that happened too. We spoke on earlier. I want to say a big thank you, by the way, to Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, because they came out with some very powerful messages regarding Black Lives Matter.
Yes,
showing that unity. I know Sony was supposed to have a reveal this past week, and
That's absolutely right. I forgot about
pushed
that.
that
You're
back.
absolutely right.
They pushed that back. That was supposed to be on the 4th. They were going to do a big reveal. I think it was maybe just gameplay. I don't know if they were actually going to show off the PS5, which I hope they do. Man, I'm dying to see what that looks like. But they actually did a thing on Twitter where they said that, we feel it's not the time for games right now. Not the time for that. And so thank you, Sony, for
That's right.
for doing that and seeing that and recognizing that, this is not a good time to be trying to talk about exciting video games and things of that nature. And of course, Microsoft stood with them on that, and then so did Nintendo. And it's good to see that unity. And that's kind of one thing I think I want to talk about maybe in a couple weeks is gamers, man. Gamers, we need that unity in the gaming in the gamer community as well.
Uh-huh.
There's so many fanboys out there, and people are hating on each other over stuff. And if you like Xbox, you get kind of hated on for it, which I think is stupid.
Yeah,
it's whatever. But
yeah.
But it's good to see that unity.
But that's just one of those deals where it's the way I've seen it, and I've always seen it this way. Those are like siblings fighting each other, man.
Yeah.
Nintendo, and Sony and Microsoft, they grew up together. Maybe Microsoft might be the baby of the group, so he gets the most crap. You know what I mean? The youngest child's getting the most crap. But that's how I see it, man. There'll be some infighting, there'll be some pushing and shoving, but when it matters, man, they stood together, and I think that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. And speaking of the PS5, we're all waiting to see what this thing looks like. I know, Victor, I don't know if you've seen any of the development kits or not for what this thing looks like. So rumor has it that the V shape is actually meant to cool both sides of the console. And the big rumor is that it's gonna have that V shape.
Okay. Yeah, that thing looks funky.
And it's not gonna be now granted, what people are saying is it's not gonna have that like dipped in like pizza slice looking cut in top part. It's gonna have a V shape, but it's gonna be flat at the top. So I don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, do I really care about aesthetically what it looks like? No, but I mean, I do want it to look good on my entertainment center and next to my other console. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like, to be honest with you, I don't really care how. Yeah,
it looks,
I mean,
is it gonna fit? Wherever I decide to put it, because once you start getting into abstract shapes, then there's gonna either be more space or you have to kind of readjust your space here. I mean, as boring as rectangular boxes are, they fit nice and neat right in my entertainment center. So I can go ahead and pile a couple of them together, or I should say, put a couple next to them, and they're perfect. They fit just fine. Now, if I got some V-shaped looking thing, and I'm like, yeah, you're special. I think I'm gonna have to put you over here. So
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, let's be real though. We all know that these first consoles that come out during a new generation, those aren't the real ones, man. You want the real one. You wait about 4 years into the console generation, then you get the real one. Like, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X. Those are the real console. Those are the real console. This is just the prototype that this is the starter kit, like, if you will. Like,
there you go. That's the way. That's the best.
We're really
starter kit.
Yeah, like midway through, it's the mid-gen console cycle that you like. Okay, because the Xbox is claiming that their console is 8K ready. Okay, it's gonna really be. We're not even at that yet. So give it about 3 years, 4 years, then we'll be like, oh, here's the Xbox Series X Pro Series A. It was some stupid.
Oh yeah.
Long ass.
By then they have the processors to cool and not cool to enhance the viewing ability of what you have it running on. So it's like, oh yeah, let's just wait a couple of years and then you get the better tech in there, and
Yeah,
And it's
it's
just even
ridiculous.
much more amazing.
It's ridiculous, man. But as far as what I've been getting into, man, I've been playing a lot of different games. I'm one of those people. Like I just finished Spider-Man on PS4. Man, that
That's
was
cool, man.
something. That was something else. Have you played it?
I have not. I've seen gameplay
Oh,
of it though. That's why I'm kind of chuckling to myself because,
I'm
like I
gonna,
said, I've been on a YouTube trip recently and I saw that
yeah,
and I was like, oh, that looks pretty damn good.
I'm gonna tell you something. This ain't a spoiler about Spider-Man. I'm not gonna like give any spoilers away. I'm gonna tell you something. There's a part of that game in Spider-Man that I had to put my controller down and sit back, and I was like, "Is this really happening right now?" That it is so true to life that it's just like, holy hell, is this for real? Like, there's basically a point in the game where there's a pandemic and there's looting and rioting and protesting. I kid you not.
That's crazy.
And I'm
And
like, wait, hold up.
this is a couple-year-old game. This is not something that
Yeah,
just came out, right? This
This
is
came
like
out
18, I think.
2018, brother. Yeah, this came out in 2018, man.
So yeah,
But
it's always crazy when you see things like that.
but I just finished that. That was a 10 out of 10. This is stellar. I would say, I always thought that Batman Arkham City
Asylum
was
City?
my favorite Marvel, or was my favorite not Marvel, my favorite superhero game. Nah, man, Spider-Man hands down now, bro. That's definitely my favorite.
I gotta
Hands
check
down.
that out.
It's the
Gotta check it out.
combat is just like Batman, dude. It's
And that combat was
so
great. That was real good.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I just finished that up. And then I picked up Persona 5 Royale.
I can't get into Persona.
Oh my god,
Everyone
you can't get
says
into
this.
Persona?
Everyone, I can't.
Oh,
It's like
so
everyone says it's so
good.
amazing. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Give it a
Oh,
shot.
it's so
And then
good.
I sit down and I try it and I can't. So I
Oh,
don't
it's
know.
so good, man.
I just don't know what's up with that, man. I just can't get into it.
It's such a good
Kids
game.
are like, the Joker's the best. I
Yeah.
love Jokers. Like, oh yeah.
No, it's so good. It's so good. No, it's such a good. It's got like 400 hours of content into it, bro. Like if you do everything in the game, but Royale is so a lot of people don't know this, but like Persona 5 was really a PlayStation 4 or I'm sorry, a PS3 port from Japan. Mm-hmm. That Atlas was like, okay, we're gonna port this over to the PS4 and release it in North America because those games. They're still technically Shin Megami Tensei games, but they don't call it that. They just say Persona, whatever.
Yeah.
So when Persona 5 came out, it was still on the PS3 in Japan. So they're like, well, we're just gonna, port it over. But a lot of people don't realize is that Persona 5 is not the entire game that you got on the PS3 in Japan. So when they released Persona 5 Royale, or Royal rather, that's actually the complete version of the game. And I've never finished Persona 5. I was really upset because when I just picked up a PS4, I got one for my birthday last month, and
oh, you're giving some hours into that bad boy.
I know, right? And I went in there, and all my cloud saves were deleted. Man, I was so pissed.
Oh man.
I was so mad, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I haven't played these games in like 3 years, and I've never played God of War. Oh, such a good game.
Oh, really? I love that one.
And that was one of the first games. Like I've got let's see, what do I got over there on the shelf? I got Days Gone. I got God of War. I have Death Stranding. Spider-Man is the only one I finished so far because there's just so much content in all these games. And now we got The Last of Us Part 2 coming out in like a week and a half.
That's right. That's coming out again.
So I'm just like, damn it, I got like all these, but that's not a bad thing, But and I've got Dragon Quest 8 up there. I've got Nino Kuni.
Dragon Quest.
I have picked up so many games for my PS4 lately. Like, it's just been insane because they have such great exclusives, man. This is just if I'm gonna buy a cross console game, I'll do it for Xbox.
True to God exclusives, right?
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's
man.
Yeah, man. I haven't finished God of War, but I've been playing that, and it's just a beautiful game. I find myself jumping back and forth. I got MLB The Show 20 because I'm a huge baseball fan. I love baseball, so I got that. It feels good to play a baseball game again. But I've been
to have baseball on TV.
But I've been digging back. I've been really playing Persona 5 Royal. And
maybe I'll give it another shot. Give it another couple hours, see if I can jump into that. I could not get into it, man. I've tried to get into it. It doesn't resonate with me. Doesn't resonate with me. And it's funny because I love RPGs, man. I can't get into it.
Yeah, I was just saying, I know you love RPGs. This is like this is a masterpiece, bro.
And I just can't get into it. I haven't. Well, let me rephrase. I haven't been able to get into it yet. Maybe it'll happen. Yeah. I don't know. But I have not been able to get into it.
Yeah. But and then I know there's a new Call of Duty coming out this year, but it might get delayed. I think it's like another Black Ops game. I forget what that.
Those are all on the back burner now.
Those are on the back burner now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird that E3 isn't happening. But then again, E3 is kind of dead in the water anyway. It's
yeah.
E3's kind of been that game that event that every year is just kind of not so good. Which is sad.
It's just there because it's there, you know?
It's sad because I always liked, even when I was younger, seeing those guys go up on stage and give those big presentations. I thought it was really cool, but I guess that's not going to be a thing anymore. It kind of makes me sad. Makes me just a little sad, man. Makes me kind of sad. Is there any, let me ask you this, Victor, we'll do this. Is there any piece of technology you've used lately that you've been pretty pleasant with, or that you've
piece of technology that I've been pleasant with, huh?
That's kind of like something that you've either discovered that you like, a piece of technology that you use that you want to let people know about that you enjoy?
To be quite honest with you, no. I've been laid out.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, not being able to go out because you know my surgery and whatnot. That I haven't been able to get my hands on anything or try anything.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't really say. I mean, I got this really cool foot massager. That's amazing. But
there you go. There you go.
But that's not cutting tech, high tech stuff.
Hey, man. Hey, that's technology, brother. That's
But
man, I wish I had one.
Other than that, I haven't been out there. I haven't browsed. I haven't touched anything. I haven't used anything. So I don't have anything in particular that comes to mind. Yeah. You know, especially it sucks because I'm a gadget type person.
Dude,
I love gadgets. I love gadgets. Just some weird stuff. Even if it's something as simple as a magnifying lens for my phone. Like, oh yeah, let's try that. You know, so I can take better pictures from far away. Just little gadgets, you know.
Yeah.
I love things like that. But I haven't had anything recent, so I can't really say, you know, anything cool that I have. I've only been out and about for about 2 weeks now that I can actually move. So I just haven't had a chance to really mess with anything. What about you? What have you had? Anything like that?
Well, I did get a GoPro Hero 8.
Oh, nice.
Recently. For those that don't know, I do have 2 YouTube channels that I really haven't done much with. Once again, my apologies for that. It's been crazy. The wife and I share a computer, and that's not her fault. She has to work from home because of her job. She's not allowed to go into her office. So, but hey, it's a good thing she's able to work. She's able to work from home, which is
great.
Yeah. But I haven't been able to get any do much with projects and stuff. But I haven't really had the equipment that I've needed anyway to do what I want to do. And so I was able to thankfully be able to pick up and had the funds to pick up a GoPro Hero 8. Her and I had talked about getting a new camera for like when we go on adventures and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And that thing is amazing. I've never had a really nice digital camera like that before. And just the stabilization features it has, to be able to do time-lapse videos. I did a time-lapse video today. We went down to the river today, and we took a drive, and I mounted the GoPro to the dash and did the little time-lapse video thing, like people driving around and stuff. I was like, I've always wanted to do one of those, and I did one. It was kind of neat. Those are cool. But I got that so that we could do more stuff on my Daniel's domain. By the way, you should subscribe. It's on YouTube. That's where I'm going to talk about video. I talk all about video games, the industry, all the news and stuff like that. You guys can go there. And then I also do a YouTube channel called Tales from the Block, which I haven't done. Like I said, I haven't done videos on these for a minute, and that's about my time as a Blockbuster manager. And I talk about some things that happened there. But the GoPro Hero 8 Black is it's an incredible. It is so tiny. It's waterproof. I think it goes down like 30 feet. And it takes 4K video, which is so great.
Oh yeah, it looks they look amazing.
And
what that is.
Has that Hyper Smooth 2.0. So like, I mean, you can shake the hell out of it, like I did the other day, and it doesn't move, man. Like it doesn't, like it stays. It keeps the shot very straight.
And that's what's makes them great is that's other action cameras,
action camera, man.
So action cameras. So they have that great stabilization. The video is just amazing. I have a GoPro type camera, which I don't even know. Like I said, I have so many gadgets and gizmos. I have no idea what it's called. And the one thing that I was not too thrilled about it is that it's not waterproof, so I have to encase it in this plastic case. And which is not bad, but it's horrible because, well, it's practically soundproof if it's encased in a case. So I can't speak while I have that going around. Not the case with the GoPro. That you don't need to have that shell around it to block out that sound. So it's cool. That's really amazing. And I had my hands on one of those a couple years back, like a year or so ago. And that thing was fascinating. It was amazing. It was good stuff.
Yeah, GoPros are I've always wanted one. And I do convention reviews and things like that. And now I got a nice little tripod for it. And so now I'll be able to take like convention videos in 4K and things like that. I did post a couple 4K videos on a private YouTube channel of mine that I had, just to kind of do some editing stuff. But if you guys are looking for a good camera, it's an investment. I was able to get mine for $300. Really not that expensive at all for one of those things. And the software built into it is so user friendly. And there's an app you can download called Quick, GoPro Quick, and it lets you just put all your everything on there. You can get unlimited storage if you do GoPro Unlimited. It's like $5 a month, and you get unlimited cloud storage for all. Yeah,
that's worth it. You need that, guys. Trust me.
Yeah, you're gonna absolutely need that,
especially if you're shooting in 4K.
Oh yeah, and my only complaint is the battery. Battery sucks.
Oh yeah,
if you're doing video, the battery is. I mean, you can do about an hour, I think, before your battery gets to, and your battery will probably get to about 30%. That's not very good. So, but it also kind of depends on the resolution. I think in 4K, if you try to do an hour-long video, you're probably going to have about 15% left. But if you do 1080p, 1080 60 FPS, you probably have about 50% left after an hour. But it's a handy little camera, man. It is definitely a really good investment.
Yeah, and I've always seen cameras as that investments. You're talking about your life stories, your memories, your adventures, as you said. And you don't want to have crappy ass quality pictures or videos when you're out there. And to be honest with you, I love pictures. I love video. When I go out with my family, I generally take a camera with me, and I have a very nice, high quality camera and whatnot. But my problem is I live in the moment, so I'll forget to take the pictures. It's more like I'm there, So having a GoPro kind of solved that to an extent. Because what I'll do is I'll get that set up somewhere and I'll have it playing or whatever while we do what we got to do. And then I can just take pictures from there. That's what I've done in the past. But that's one of those deals where you just, I have thousands upon thousands of videos and pictures that we take throughout the year. And it's an investment, people. Get yourself a nice camera. GoPro Hero 8 is pretty damn amazing.
Yeah, it's the best of the best. I mean, the wife and I were kind of talking. We were planning on getting the 7 Black, but they had a sale on Amazon for them, and the Hero Black was only like $75 more. I was like, well, what the hell? Let's get the better.
Might as well get it. Yeah.
I might as well get the best one they have. This is the point, So we got it, and we've had it for not even a week yet, and it's been something we've enjoyed. I got some pretty good video out by the river today with the dog and the wife, and trying to take videos like while I'm driving and things like that to test out the
just to test it out, just to mess with it, push buttons, you know. Yeah, I've done the same. Take things out, just push some buttons, see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool, man. I'm glad you got yourself something amazing like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna love it.
Oh, dude, I can't. I'm excited. I'm excited to get to shoot some videos and put some stuff on YouTube, man.
Strap that sucker on your shoulder and let's go,
dude. Right?
You gotta do. Yeah.
But guys, that is all the time we have today on the Dragoncast. Thank you guys for watching or for listening. Actually, this one no video here.
This one's for listening. Audio. This one.
Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for sticking with us. We hope that you listen to the show with an open mind, considering the subject matter we started off with today. And and we appreciate all of you for taking the time to find us. We're on SoundCloud, Google Music, Apple Music, and now we're on Spotify.
Yeah.
Now on Spotify, so you can find all of our episodes, all of the episodes we ever have done of the show, all 26 now, on all of those different platforms to listen to us. And of course, you can listen to our newest episodes on YouTube as well. And so for our next guest, I believe I mentioned this very briefly at the end of our show with KJ last week, but I still got, I'm going to shoot him a message just to make sure. But we're going to have Carl Doneger on the show. And Carl is an Indianapolis native who is one of the many people that put together PopCon. And I don't know if I got to tell you this yet, but they did cancel, or no, they postponed PopCon. They were the last convention in Indy to do so. And we're gonna talk with him hopefully this time next week. You guys will be listening to him talking about what it's like to run a convention. What are the ins and outs of that? How do you get celebrities? How do you get a venue? And then we're also going to talk to him about putting together a virtual convention, because they are still going to have a convention that same weekend, just going to go virtual. And there's just so many good questions that I'm sure Victor and I both have for Carl next week as we discuss with him. And I'm also just really curious how the whole Kickstarter thing process works too, because that's how they funded their first convention. So
it'll be good to get that behind the scenes look, and how exactly that all played out and worked out, and how they're going to do the virtual con, all that stuff, the behind the scenes things. That's going to be great insight to get.
Absolutely. And I hope all of you come back next week to listen to our show, and we thank you so much for taking the time to tune in with us. And until next time, guys, I'm Brian, and that's Victor, and you guys have a great rest of your week.